Now, I'm sure you can understand, Colin, that from the outside, this looks all very messy. First the split, now the spill. Is you calling this spill helpful or just adding to the drama?
Oh, look, I understand this, and, for the people watching, the listeners, politics is a brutal game.
The voice you're hearing is that of Colin Boyce, a Nationals MP from Central Queensland. He represents a huge swathe of land stretching from Bundaberg to Rockhampton. And as he's travelled around his electorate, he's been confronted by the looming threat of one nation.
There are many people who are absolutely fed up with politics, all flavours of it. They all want their Australia back.
Colin is so dismayed about the split of the coalition, he's challenging David Littleproud for the leadership of the Nationals on Monday.
All I can say to you is that this is a last-ditch effort for me to save the National Party from its own self-destruction.
I'm Daniel James, and you're listening to 7am. Today, Colin Boyce, on why he's challenging his own leader, the inside story of the National split from the coalition, and how one nation is reshaping the party's future. It's Friday, January 30. Colin, thanks for joining us. Why have you decided to challenge David Littleproud for the leadership?
Well, it's long and complicated, but the direction that the National Party is headed in now, in my humble opinion, is political oblivion. If the National Party continues down the course of its standalone entity and run to the next federal election, we risk losing our senators in Victoria and New South Wales. They simply will not get enough quota to hold their seats. That also opens up the possibility of running three-cornered elections with One Nation's, the Liberal Party, the National Party and so forth. That will split the primary vote and arguably some of our members may lose their seats. It creates problems around how do you fund a federal election cycle as a single entity. Campaign donation fundings and all of that changes come June, July this year. It's highly unlikely that we'll attract very much corporate funding. And as I say, there's a lot of money gets spent in election cycles. We will lose our long-term staff that we've had, particularly those staff attached to shadow ministerial portfolios. Those people have been with us for a very long time. They've an enormous amount of experience in the political arena. We will also lose those travel entitlements that are attached to ministerial portfolios, and that won't allow people to travel to various electorates to campaign during the cycle. So it presents a broad range of problems for the National Party, which will make it very difficult to maintain our standing and hold all of our seats. So David Littleproud has chosen to take us away from the coalition agreement for the second time now. My opinion is that that needs to be put back together again as a matter of haste. David's leadership is now untenable, I think, in terms of trying to negotiate with the Liberal Party, because David, unfortunately, has said some things that won't be unsaid and upset many of them.
Can we just talk about how we got to this place in the first instance? Can you take us back to the day which was supposed to be a day of mourning for the victims of the Bondi massacre? David Littleproud comes out and announces the coalition split.
Thank you for all coming this morning, and it's important we came.
What was happening behind the scenes? When did you first get wind of this?
I had no idea he was going to do that. I think that was a mistake on David's part to use that day of national mourning to go into the political arena through the media. I remember myself, I had an interview from Radio National, and I basically told them that I didn't want to make any comment in respect to politics. It was a day to recognise the tragedy of Bondi, and it was a time that we all needed to reflect as Australians, and that's what should have happened.
This is not what the National Party want, but I cannot stand by and have three courageous senators who put their jobs on the line for no reason that has any veracity whatsoever to be disrespected, and our party...
I would have said, look, David, do not go down politics today. By all means, get on the national media and television and so forth and extend our condolences and sympathies and all of that sort of thing, which we should have done, which I did. Having said that, David chose otherwise.
You've clearly been unhappy with the way David Littleproud has handled the last couple of weeks in particular. But how would you rate his leadership since he took over, particularly in relation to some of the issues you just raised?
Oh, look, I think David's done his very best to prosecute the arguments when and however he can. And, that's the job of a leader. Having said that, he's made some mistakes along the way, and that's understandable. Everybody makes mistakes. I think this last few weeks in respect to the bill that went to Parliament in the emergency session there, the handling of that was difficult. I understand that, but that's what leaders are for, both the Liberal leader and the National leader. They were unable to come to a compromise, and for me, it's got now to a situation where we've walked away from the coalition agreement twice now. How can you possibly expect the Liberal Party to entertain another term of David Littleproud leadership if it might happen again?
You say you won't be ringing around to gain support for your challenge. So is this a legitimate challenge because your colleagues have reportedly said it's doomed to fail? Well, what do you say to that?
That may be so. The point of the exercise here is to make it loud and clear to my colleagues that if they're going to go down the road of standing as a separate entity as a national party, many of them will not hold their seats. It's that simple. Now, the National Party's been around for 100-odd years. It has served rural and regional Australia very well, and I'm just doing everything I can to make them reassess this commitment to run alone. I don't want to see them pull down the blinds in the National party room. That would be an absolute tragedy.
David Littleproud has reportedly rejected peace talks with Susan Lee until the leadership spill is dealt with. Could your decision actually have delayed the reunion that you're pushing for between the Nationals and the Liberals?
Well, my counter to that would, why wasn't that done way back then? Why wait till now? I mean, that's nonsense. They both made it quite clear in some of the statements they'd made that it's not happening and so forth. So, again, I think everybody is starting to come to their senses and understand the ramifications of splitting the coalition agreement. This does not work well for the Liberal Party either. So we have a symbiotic relationship. We need one another. All of these egos and personalities, they need to be dealt with, and we need to re-establish this coalition agreement and move on.
Coming up, has the coalition reached the point of no return? Colin, you want the coalition back together, but is there really a future for the coalition given how opposite your interests are and how divided the two parties seem to be?
Again, I think this is one of the issues that needs to get dealt with, particularly in the Liberal Party. And this is why we've seen the rise of the One Nation group of people. People are sick to death of this woke cancel culture that's invaded everything, and every decision that gets made, it has to be politically correct and acceptable to those who continually get offended.
How much of the chaos that's going on right now, how much of that is playing into the hands of One Nation and their rise in the polls?
One Nation is rising in the polls. We've all seen the polls. We're well aware of that. The right flank is now exposed. I warned everybody of this repeatedly when they refused to accommodate Barnaby Joyce, and he eventually resigned.
Do you think there are some other Nationals close to jumping?
It's their choice, and it's a very personal decision, and I'm certainly not going to start, litigating it in public on their behalf. No, it's their choice, and if they make it, they make it. If they don't, I understand both ways.
And now we have the rise of One Nation as a result.
Look, it's happening across the world. In fact, Australia's last. You've got Farage, you've got Le Pen in France, you've got Milano in Italy, you've got the AFD in Germany, which are crazy, crazy dangerous. The MAGA movement in the United States. We're actually last to this last of this form of new global politics?
There are rumours that some of your colleagues might actually defect to One Nation. Are you among them?
No.
Simple question, simple answer. I like it. One person who's reportedly delighted by the split is former Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce, who is, of course, now, as you know and everyone else knows, part of One Nation. Have you been chatting with him lately at all?
I speak to Barnaby on a semi-regular basis. We're good friends. It's not a daily basis, but we probably speak once a week or something like that. I have not discussed any of these issues with Barnaby, nor he has with me.
And finally, Colin, is your side of politics just making it too easy for the government right now?
Most definitely. This has to stop. We have to bury the hatchet, so to speak, shelve all the egos and personalities, form a coalition, put our best team forward and move on. And that's on both sides of this argument, both the Liberal side and the National side.
Well, Colin Boyce, good luck on Monday and thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Also in the news, WA Police has announced it will be investigating an alleged attack on Monday's Invasion Day rally in Perth as a potential terrorist attack. First Nations leaders have welcomed the news. Forensic teams have confirmed the device was a fragment bomb, packed with volatile chemicals designed to explode on impact. A 31-year-old man whose identity has been suppressed has been charged. And a Chinese investigative team is set to visit Australia to help in the search of a man accused of randomly attacking a baby with hot coffee in 2024. The man fled to his home country after the attack. China's ambassador to Australia says they will work with Queensland Police to help track down the 33-year-old. I'm Daniel James. You've been listening to 7am. We'll be back tomorrow.